Hello, and welcome to another episode of Walk the Dog Cinema. Here we are. I know it's been a while since I've posted. Hope you all had a very Merry Christmas and had a nice time with family or friends or whatever it is you do, whether it be working in the office or out in the field, or I just hope it was a pleasant time and you actually had a merry day. So getting Roke out for a walk, dealing with the rains and just all sorts of stuff with the holidays. And so today I'm going to talk about, kind of did watch one Santa related movie, and the aproposness of it is I'm going to be talking about Santa Claus the movie, from the makers of literally Superman and Supergirl, the Salkinds, and the director Janot Schwartz. I'm probably saying that wrong, but he did Supergirl. He also is known for doing Jaws 2, and he it's kind of like Spielberg light a little bit, and definitely has those qualities within this film even. I haven't seen this movie since probably the 80s. I know I'd seen it since it first released. I didn't see it in the theater, but I did see it several times in the 80s. But I don't think I've probably seen it since probably 89, 90. So it was kind of a fresh experience going into this. I kind of remembered bits and pieces. There was parts that I absolutely completely had forgotten about. So rather interesting to say the least. Experience. Good little Christmas movie in that sense. Overall, it's basically a tale of two movies. The first half is much better than the second half. The second half brings down the first half so much that it your mileage is gonna vary on how you feel about the movie, because the second half almost wastes the first half. But if you were just to watch the first half as like a Christmas special or something, and it kind of leaves it at that, where Santa Claus takes off and goes out to deliver presents, that first hour is really magical. As a nice origin. Tom Hiddleston, who is Santa Claus, does a great job as Santa Claus. Kind of has got this nice boyish charm, but also very masculine. The set design is great for first century Santa Claus up in the North Pole. There's a lot of magic and wonder and great wide view shots. So your mileage will vary. Overall, I don't think it's a movie that I would ever kind of just add to a repertoire of watching holiday movie after holiday movie. But I could see, in 10 years time, maybe revisiting it again. But the second half really just brings it down. And so, it also has Dudley Moore. I've never been a big fan of Dudley Moore's author. Is an okay film. He kind of don't even really remember any movies that I've actually inherently liked him in, except for maybe this one. This one, he's this elf, and that whole subplot, which is the second half of the movie, is just really cartoonish and full of plot holes, and really just kind of winds up just like I said, messing up the whole beginning. But like I said, the first hour I absolutely enjoyed. I think Tom Hiddleston is great as Santa Claus. I mean, he's probably my second favorite Santa Claus. And Santa Claus with Tim Allen, the Santa Claus, definitely borrows a lot from this film, which is kind of interesting in and of itself. A lot of plot points in the second half, basically because Santa Claus is childless. You kind of get two kids involved in the plot with this villainous toy maker who isn't really villainous, except that he exploits capitalism in the utmost greed. And I will say it brought a smile to the face, because how he gets introduced, it's John Lithgow, who really just hams it up in the most amazing aspect that you can possibly imagine. Does so much with so little, but as a villain, he's not very good. It's just a really hammy comic book like villain. I wouldn't even put it comic book. It's just really hammy and just kind of out there and over the top. But the how he's introduced, where he's at a Senate hearing committee in front of Congress, and they rip open a toy stuffed bear, and it's filled with glass and just like ridiculous sawdust and broken glass shards and nuts and bolts. I mean, everything that would like kill a kid, you know. I mean, you know, it's, you know, it wouldn't even be a stuffed animal. So it's like, how that would ever get on the market. I mean, it's just so out there and ridiculous, but it's also quite funny in just its over the topness. And it's fine that it can go over the top because the character's over the top. But then there's parts where when Santa meets this orphan boy who's homeless on the street, that's kind of where the movie really falls apart, and I'll get to that. So the villain of this movie isn't the greatest. Dudley Moore gets tied up with him as an elf, and he's gonna show Santa that he can really do it. And like I said, this is kind of where the movie falls apart. I'm not saying that anything inherently in the movie is, you know, realistic, but it still had this kind of grounding wonderment. Yes, you know, the North Pole and how they set it up is fantastical, and it has these great kind of Spielbergian, you know, solar flares, and just everything, you know, is mystical, magical, childlike, but it is grounded. The sets are grounded. You get, I mean, green screen and stuff, but everything is kind of set to be believed. And so nothing's off the table in that regard. And then it just, you know, kind of loses its steam. Dudley Moore makes this machine that basically is like an assembly line of machines putting nuts and bolts, and everything doesn't work, but then the toys come out fine until they're used. And so like editing doesn't match up. Certain things were shown then doesn't start matching up, and yeah, it's comical, but when you've grounded that first hour kind of in some realism and continuity and establishment of what we're gonna have transpire, and then you just kind of go like beyond comic book. Like I said, even comic books follow plots and grounded physics at times and try to do a grounded method and stuff, even if they're doing cosmic adventures and things like that. This is like goes over the top, you know. And you know, on one level you have to kind of see John Lithgow's performance to really capture what I'm getting at, and just the absurdities of things with exploding candy canes, and even how that function doesn't really go off of what they've told you in the script, even though the first half of the script has followed itself and they set up the children. But ultimately that's kind of where the movie falls apart. Santa sees a homeless child, and I mean, it is established that he's been doing this for, you know, 19 centuries, and then Santa comes upon this homeless child and literally acts like this is the first homeless child he's ever come across. And man, it rings so hollow, and Tom Hiddleston does a great job as Santa trying to play up this part, but it really pulls you out of the movie, because now at this point you're watching a movie and you're feeling the plot start kind of grinding those gears to set something up, and there were so many other ways it could have done that to really get there with it. Then it could have still been a homeless child, but how Santa reacted to it would have been there's many myriad different realistic reasons Santa would want to conversate with this child. Maybe he's sick and tired of it. It's kind of been somewhat established that people are getting bored of Santa a little bit, and the fact that Santa's still doing like first century toys that kids would want in the 20th century and things like that, it starts ringing false, and so those aesthetics don't change. The elves are kind of still stuck in that first century bubble, and that's why I was saying the second half of that movie just kind of peters out. So mileage will vary on that depending upon how you want to take it. First half is a fantastic movie. Second half, not so good at all, and you kind of don't even get a middling response about it. So I'd say for the most part there's much better Christmas movies to watch, but even stop motion, Here Comes Santa Claus Coming to Town, and The Origin of Santa Claus, and even some of the trippier Rankin and Bass stuff does a much better job with Santa Claus. So I wouldn't necessarily say stay clear of this one, but if you've seen all the holiday movies and you kind of want to check one out, check it out. I would say you'll get some entertainment value out of it, but otherwise steer clear. But I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas. Please leave some comments on your favorite Christmas movies down below. I'm going to be changing up some things for the new year in regards to the channel and how I kind of go about handling some movies, just a little challenge of my own. But thank you for subscribing this year, following along, and Happy New Year, everyone, and we'll see you in the new year. Take care.